One of the richest men in the world, Jeff Bezos, got married this weekend, and it was messy. With protests mocking him and his wife all over the city, celebrities getting shamed for going, and some celebrities trying to hide from the paparazzi, but we found them.
Spending $35 million to look a hot mess is crazy work.
Just a heads up, the deplorables are getting married next week, and you're on track to send them a wedding gift.
I want to know, prenup? And
So-
what does that look like?
The wedding was postponed until now, allegedly because his lawyers were still working out the prenup. The prenup took 2 years. Some Hollywood marriages don't make it a year.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tea with Tokwase, where I serve you the hottest tea from the internet, from TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and sometimes X. If this is your first time seeing me on your screen, where have you been? Where have you been? Anyway, welcome. But if this is not your first time, I think you should consider subscribing at this point because it's getting to look like you're a stalker. Make it official, that's what I'm trying to say, and subscribe. Thank you. So today's video is on Jeff Bezos' wedding and all the backlash that has happened at the back of that wedding. I've never seen a wedding that is talked about this much. I don't even think a royal wedding has this amount of backlash. Oh my god, it is hilarious to hear people's perspective on it. Some people are saying that we are entitled to it because we have Amazon Prime. We paid for it. That's our ticket to the wedding. And then I heard a comedian saying, you know, when you have in a wedding where the pastor will say, if you don't want these two people to get married, speak now or forever hold your peace, and everybody on the internet are speaking. It's so funny. But before we get into it, make sure you get your popcorn, get your cookies, and get your tea, and let's get into this.
One of the richest men in the world, Jeff Bezos, got married this weekend, and it was messy. With protests mocking him and his wife all over the city, celebrities getting shamed for going, and some celebrities trying to hide from the paparazzi, but we found them. Here's everything you need to know, full guest list, and all the controversy. Amazon Prime oligarch Jeff Bezos, worth $230 billion, got married this weekend to former journalist Lauren Sánchez. And they rented out all of Venice, Italy. Yes, a whole city for them and their billionaire friends. They spent $50 million on the 3-day extravaganza. But don't worry, because that's equivalent to a person of average wealth like you and me spending only $120 out of our pocket, because Jeff Bezos makes $30 million a day. And that's on top of the $3 to $5 million engagement ring he already put on her finger. But they did not get married in peace, with Venice citizens mocking them all weekend with the goal to push them out of the city. And it worked. They had to move the venue because they were scared for their safety after Venice citizens put dozens of mannequins of Jeff Bezos in very compromising, embarrassing positions all over the city. In that one, he's hugging an Amazon Prime box while holding money. In this one, he's hoarding money in his pocket, in his hands, while he's holding an Amazon Prime box saying just married. And they make them look so ugly in all of them. One of them, they put him on a toilet with like something up his butt. The Venice citizens are upset because their city is seeing a lot of problems with wealth inequality and increased population of homelessness, their city being overrun by American tourists, and their environmental health being greatly destroyed by oligarchs just like him who pollute the world with their corporations. Meanwhile, this wedding is a disgusting display of how he hoards wealth and pays no taxes. So they put up a huge sign that said, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more taxes. They were originally supposed to have their wedding in this very centralized, right in the middle of the city, historic venue. Then they had to move it to this very secure naval shipyard that's protected by the military and on an island to protect them and their billionaire guests. And I'm sorry, even though they had all the money in the world, they have very poor taste. They used Jeff Bezos' $500 million super yacht to have a foam party. And then apparently they had a Great Gatsby themed party this night. It's like they want us to eat them. And the locals have the absolute right to be upset because there were 90 different private jets that flew in all of these billionaire guests to the city, polluting the air massively. That guest list includes Orlando Bloom without Katy Perry after the split of 9 years, Sydney Sweeney fresh off of breaking up her engagement, maybe they're flirting, Kendall and Kylie Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner and her fabulous new face, Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King, fresh off their revolutionary 9-minute trip to space, another oligarch, Bill Gates, and Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to hide from the paparazzi, but we saw you. He's probably embarrassed to go because he claims he's the biggest environmentalist in the world, but he's supporting an oligarch polluting the planet. Leo, we're on to you. But don't worry, he was with his 27-year-old girlfriend, so he's improving everywhere. No one can really tell what the dress code was. I feel like it was like whatever you didn't wear to the Met Gala this year and had as your backup, just wear that. Serving Illuminati realness. So if you were confused why this wedding was causing such a ruckus, that's all you need to know. Make sure to follow on all apps in case of a ban, because in Patty we trust.
But couldn't they do Uber share, Uber pool? As in with the private jets. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment because it's ridiculous. Because I'm very sure they can say, let's plan a rendezvous, let's plan a meetup time and place. Huh? And then we all use that aircraft to go to the wedding since we are all going to the same location because the wedding list came out earlier. And I'm sure that their neighbors, just most of these wealthy people stay around the same area. Don't tell me that two or three of them are not neighbors so they can use the same. Hmm? But anyway, maybe my pocket is showing. Maybe they're talking. They're it's not even a matter of how expensive or how cheap it is for them. It's just like it's not that serious. Like just couple.
I can't stand them. Everything about this circus is just, I just exhausted. Everything I know about them, I know against my will. And I just think it's ghastly. I think it's the most hideous display of tacky new money. And I think it's really yuck. What has that man in his 50s, that bald man in his 50s, got business inviting two 20-something social media stars to his wedding? And then I realised they had a foam party on a yacht. And again, I just thought, grow up. There is no excuse for spraying foam in the face of your friends on a yacht when you were grown-ups. Just have some taste. Oh, when I told my mum I was getting married again, she said, well, I haven't checked the diary, but if I'm free, I'll come.
I love your mother. I love your mother.
That's the kind of spirit that second weddings are supposed to bring, not come for 7 days to Venice and stay in a whatever hotel and fly in on a private jet. It's very sad that the majority of people going to this wedding, because it's quite a small wedding, they're apparently having fewer than 100 people. I think there's something really sad about the fact that the majority of them are celebrities they've only known for the last possibly 10 years, absolute tops.
Spending $35 million to look like a hot mess is crazy work. I just saw pictures and clips Jeff Bezos' wedding, and you would think, being worth hundreds of billions of dollars, this would have been a white tie event. You would expect a villa, a castle in Venice, and instead, there's a whole bunch of billionaires who looks like they're going to different events. Why is Kylie going sexy, which is already odd? Leonardo DiCaprio with a baseball hat, which don't even get me started on him being so phony, being, oh, I care about the earth, and then you go to a wedding full of people who are actively destroying it, and some people are in a tuxedo. It's a weird combo going on. Not to mention the venue, like it had office carpet, cheap chairs. Don't even get me started on the bride, this astronaut. Looks like she has on 40 different types of dresses. You got the mermaid tail, you got the buttons up the front, corset, the lace. It was like in Venice. You would expect a more traditional Italian kind of dress to go with the theme. No, you put on whatever that was. And I'm not shocked, truly not. Because usually when people are ugly on the inside, it eventually peeks through on the outside. And I think that's why it looks so tacky, because everyone who attended was a bad person. Look, that's it.
I'm really not someone to criticize someone else's wedding choices, but someone gave me 230 billion reasons to not feel as bad. This is the carpet in question. And hear me out, I'm not offended that they laid down carpet. We laid down a white carpet at our ceremony. We thought it would really pop with like the orchids and the green in the background. And then hard to tell here, this is like when they're still setting up. You can see we had black carpet because we didn't want it to distract from everything else. Unlike this, where I'm only looking at the carpet. Did I have nicer florals?
But to be honest, what was that carpet? Like, what is that? I really don't understand it because, in case you don't know, I'm a hairstylist. I style brides for their weddings, so I've been in the industry. Like, so I've seen weddings that obviously the budget is a fraction of what this is, but it's coming out looking more lush, more luxurious than this. Like, what is that carpet? I was stunned. But it's like, I'm sure there are movies that have done better with less budgets than this. And for movies, there will be a lot of organization, a lot of you could have done a lot more with that budget. Because even that Crazy Rich Asian movie, did you see the wedding? We were expecting when I'm hearing a rich person getting married, I'm expecting mechanical parts moving. But if you're saying, okay, that's not the vibe you're going for, even if it's the Venice wedding vibe you're going for, like there's a lot of other ways to accomplish that. Like, what is this? It's like a collage. That's what this looks like. It's just like pictures, just random pictures of different things. To me, it looks like it's 1 week they planned the wedding. Yeah, it's quite disappointing. Not disappointing because it's a wedding, it's just because of the amount of money that has been put into this. Like, what?
I need to say something real quick. This wedding, this Jeff Bezos wedding in Venice, is hideous. It is so hideous and tacky and classless, and it just goes to show you can have all the money in the world, but not an ounce of style or class. And it's showing, especially with their guests. Like Kim Kardashian, what was that she was wearing? That Balenciaga piece of fabric, literally piece of fabric over her. Like, you're in Italy. No.
I just know this was Anna Wintour's final straw. This is why she stepped down from Vogue. Why would you literally hire an entire island in Venice to wear this and have carpet at your wedding? Did they just take this from the Amazon offices? Let's get on to the dress. I can appreciate how beautifully made this is, but I just don't like it. I don't like her or Jeff Bezos for that matter, so I'm a little bit biased. But buttons all the way down the front, I don't understand those. I feel like a really dramatic fishtail is just it's not the vibe anymore. I don't love the whole exposed bit up here. I just think it looks really strange. I'm not sure it suits her. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the face, but you know, the more you look at it, the more you can't unsee this corporate carpet. Is a prime example of loads of money, but no style and no taste. We've gone for like the most expensive option with everything, and it's just not working at all. Anyway, I think we all know by now that being a billionaire is completely unethical, and I absolutely hate these two as it is. Eat the fucking rich.
The one good thing about the Lauren Sánchez Jeff Bezos wedding is that it has single-handedly ended this tiresome, quiet luxury trend. Everything about this union and the wedding that it has spawned is tacky and ghetto, and thank goodness for that. It started out ghetto from the beginning. Cheating on your second baby daddy with his much richer friend, ghetto. Then your brother selling the text evidence to the National Enquirer for just $200,000, ghetto. Wearing a bra to the inauguration of the president of the free world, ghetto. Postponing the wedding last minute because the money was funny, ghetto. This wedding invitation, ghetto. Khloe Kardashian attending your wedding event in a leopard print catsuit, ghetto. Kim Kardashian attending your wedding event in a polyester crop top and a polyester skirt with a visible label on it, ghetto. Having Dolce & Gabbana as your wedding dress designer, ghetto. Tom Brady literally hiding his face is just so funny. Even Oprah looks like, oh, maybe this wasn't the best PR move. Her bestie Gayle King, however, she's literally rent-a-friend for billionaire. If a billionaire threw a birthday party for her cat, bet your bottom dollar that Gayle would be in attendance. But guys, where is my homeboy Derek Blasberg? Hopefully no unfortunate accidents this time around. But in all seriousness, Lauren did her big one with this one because there's literally no reason for Jeff to get married. They have no kids together. He's been married before and had to pay out billions of dollars in the divorce. So the fact that he's running into this again is a testament to Lauren's charisma. A quiet luxury girl could never have pulled this off, never in a million years. To pull this off, ghetto fabulousness is necessary, and you can't tell me otherwise. This is a developing story, and I cannot wait to see this wedding dress.
Lauren Sánchez, God bless her. She's trying to do a makeover transformation arc on us. She's trying to do a Princess Diaries 2, a Legally Blonde, a tie from Clueless. But instead of going to law school, she went to space. And she thinks that we're going to forget about everything else. She scrubbed her entire Instagram. She went from her foam party to this. Her dress was inspired by Sophia Loren because she wanted something elegant and timeless. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. $1 trillion doesn't change that.
What I don't understand is those two ladies at the back of that picture. Like, are they part of the back wall? Like, what are they part of the decoration? Like, what was the point of those two people standing there, like with the hands, with the like? What was that? I know she's trying to do like to show royalty and show. We know you are rich. We know you have employees, but why are they standing? It's not as if they are like the seamstresses or the tailors that are tailoring your outfit. No. They are, let's say they are like housekeeping, or I don't know what to call it. But what are they doing there? Like, it's so, that part was the part that was really, really side-eyeing. Like, you don't use human beings as props.
Got Bezos wedding pics. Vogue clearly got the exclusive here. Imagine being like, yeah, Lauren, do that pose. Here are my thoughts on the dress. This feels like a very heavy dress for June in Venice. It's giving 2018 Grace Kelly.
It's giving, I liked Kate Middleton's dress, but I loved Pippa Middleton's ass. I do think this photo is kind of fun. And I think she looks great there. I don't really understand what this is. This is like outtakes from a Christmas card. This photo to me makes no sense. The thing about Lauren Sánchez is she doesn't have great taste. She's not known as like a style maker. She's not known as being somebody who walks the carpet in impeccable outfits. So when Vogue chooses to put her on the cover, to me, I'm just like, well, it's just because she and Jeff are rich fascists that they want to keep happy. And Vogue gave them, you know, an exclusive. And for Lauren, that is a step in the right direction because that's the world she wants to be in. I also think it's very interesting that it's like yesterday, Anna Wintour announces she is stepping back. And then the next day, we get this Vogue spread with Lauren Sánchez. And the other thing that I find really interesting about this is like, Lauren Sánchez is only a notable name because of who she's married to, which like is fine. I do think it's interesting. I think there's one picture of Jeff. They push Lauren so hard because they think that Lauren is the more likable of the two. And truly, I'm not really sure about that. She might have like better media training. Also, like, why? Why? I will say this. I do think these two are very much in love. I do. I don't think that they are going to like get divorced in 3 years. But to me, this is kind of proof that like no matter how much money you throw at something, no matter how wealthy you are, it can be impossible to defeat cringe.
But I wondered if some of the imagery in Vogue was deliberately done to be subversive.
Why do you think Vogue did that?
But I wonder if this is a tipping point, this wedding, because when Vogue started posting the pictures of the dress fitting, the comments, at least the first probably 200 comments that I read, were almost entirely critical. And then another thing that went completely viral alongside your column was the picture of Lauren getting dressed, and then in the corner were two young, what looked like seamstresses, dressed in a uniform, looking utterly depressed, and as if they were old-fashioned uniformed servants. And that shot off. There's another picture of her sitting on a sort of kitchen sink in a rather nice-looking sort of artisanal kitchen, but in the corner under the sink there appears to be a couple of toilet rolls.
Why do you think Vogue did that?
I wondered if some of the imagery in Vogue was deliberately done to be subversive. So on the one hand, it looked like it was all magic, but in fact, you have the two sullen seamstresses, and then you have the toilet rolls.
Wow, I'm obsessed with that take, Joanna. I'm obsessed. I love that. So they did it on purpose to get all these people, you know, commenting and being angry. I love that.
I'm wondering, I can't help noticing they have very, very good photo editors over there. Every part of an image is studied within a moment of its life. I'm pretty confident that was a subversive message going out from the unionized employees at Condé Nast.
Sure. Okay, well, I love that.
I'm telling you, if your wedding has conspiracy theories at the back of it, I don't know if that's what they're going for. It's dead as funny, because how will your wedding have a conspiracy theory behind it? But it's just too funny to me.
As a costume designer, you know I have to weigh in on why I think this gown is awful. This is a classic example of something that has been over-designed. Now, it does not surprise me that horrible people flock to horrible companies. Dolce & Gabbana, the designers of this dress, are a terrible company. And Lauren Sánchez Bezos and Jeff Bezos are terrible people. So this does not surprise me, this partnership. And knowing that it's Dolce & Gabbana, I'm also not surprised by how over-designed it is, but it really missed the mark here. But in order to understand why this is just not good, let's look at the inspiration images. Much like Kim Kardashian trying to link herself with Hollywood icon Marilyn Monroe by wearing her gown to the Met Gala, we have Lauren Bezos trying to link herself to the one and only, the absolutely glamorous Sophia Loren. This is a trick done from the beginning of time. If somebody wants to take power or they want to change their social image, they're going to link themselves to other powerful images or people in such a way, visually or literally, so that way the general public can jump on board with whatever this new propaganda is. When Napoleon went to take over Europe, he linked himself with ancient Roman emperors, so that way it felt like he had a right to do so. This is no different. Lauren Bezos wants us to think of her as we think of Sophia Loren. But guess what? That's never going to happen. But this dress that Sophia Loren wore in the movie Houseboat costume designed by none other than the iconic Edith Head, is the dress that inspired Lauren Bezos' gown. Some of the notable features that we see in the Dolce & Gabbana gown for the Bezos wedding are the center front buttons, the shape on the bodice, the lace, the high collar, and the long sleeves. But where this is a study of proportion and elegant design, even though it feels like a very intricately designed gown, it still makes sense to us visually. For some reason, the proportion on this is just completely off. And not only that, this leans into a space where it looks cheaply and over-designed. For me, it's the lace, and I'm sure that this lace is incredibly expensive. However, the way that it is used is just not landing for me. On the yoke part of the bust, it looks very dense, but then when you get to the sleeves, it looks incredibly sparse. There is this ombre effect that they're trying to achieve, however, it makes the dress look cheap. Whereas in this example, the lace is all over and it is all one density. That's where this elegance comes into play. It's about the lace. The use of the lace here is actually to enhance the body, and quite frankly, it looks a little weird. Not to mention the proportion and this little mermaid flare. I personally find this kind of dress style to make everybody look a little short. And even though the line of the pearl goes up and down the center front of the body, it really still accentuates a stuntiness in the gown because it stops right there where the dress kicks out. And to me, it looks like it's misplaced. It looks like it belongs on the center back of the dress. Whereas with this, it makes sense that it's on the front of the dress. Another thing that I particularly don't like is the spaghetti strap that's happening along the bust line. There is no need for that spaghetti strap. If you have this lace yoke, it should be connected to the bodice in such a way that you do not need a spaghetti strap. That just looks like she's wearing her bra underneath this, and it looks, again, super cheap. It's the little details that make this not make sense because there's too much going on. There is no spaghetti strap here because I'm sure that this is also a beautifully boned bodice. And again, no shade to the people who made this gown. I'm sure they made it to the utmost levels of couture standards. But Dolce & Gabbana, fuck them. Now, the other thing that I don't particularly love is the length of the cathedral veil with the train of the skirt. I think these things should work in tandem and they should work together. So if you're having a long train of a dress, perhaps your veil cuts down to your lower back or underneath your bum. This creates a nice visual interest and breaks up the veil to skirt ratio. Right now, the veil is sitting on top of the skirt. And while this is beautifully laid out, a cathedral veil to me just doesn't make sense. You're dragging this in the dirt and the mud. It's supposed to be for a cathedral. That's the whole point. So that way people can look at it as you walk down this aisle. It's to create this dramatic effect. It's lost here, if that makes sense. The veil in this movie works in proportion to this dress because the shape matches the shape of the skirt. You see how the skirt and the veil are talking to each other. In this, they're just fighting visually with each other. Anyways, I hate them and I don't love this. And I feel like that also adds to it. I also don't know what's in the background. Is that a trash can? Is it a bee's nest? Is it a chunk of hay? I don't know what's going on here. But anyways, I think that this is a really great example of money can't buy class.
Everyone's upset about Vogue covering the Bezos wedding. Vogue did her dirty. Because babes, why did they have Jacqueline Oswald White in a pair of Depends and have just sold shirts? But truly, madly, deeply, this is what sent me to the moon, okay?
And of course, Dolce & Gabbana would dress her.
So other people are coming from the aspect of the protests in Venice, the climate change and the pollution that the Venetians are facing, and how Jeff Bezos, because of how rich he is, he does not need any more tax cuts because of the big beautiful bill that unfortunately looks like has gone one step further. So let's watch that as well.
For centuries, Venice has hosted huge parties, masquerade balls, and yes, weddings. But this week, guests are arriving for what some are saying is the wedding of this century between Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. Diane von Furstenberg has arrived, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, and their children have been seen sailing in. But the wedding has been protested on a small scale all week. And now there are reports that there's a sudden change of venue. One activist is calling it an enormous victory. The issues with the wedding are varied. Venice already suffers from over-tourism, and locals say that events like these end up prioritizing the tourists over the residents. Anti-inequality protesters say that it's a symbol of huge wealth and privilege. They even unveiled this banner that reads, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax."
The problem is not the wedding. The problem is the system. We think that one big billionaire can't rent a city for his pleasure.
But Italian media is reporting that Bezos is making huge donations for the preservation of the city. The activists plan to jump in the canals on Saturday to block guests from going to the wedding, but that was before the venue change. One local official told the BBC that guests were supposed to be gathering at a central exhibition center, but now they're going to be further outside the city at this building called the Arsenale. The Arsenale is a complex of former shipyards and armories. Some historians call it the first factory that ever existed. They built ships there in the 14th century with an assembly line. So Venice is no stranger to innovators or big parties, and some are welcoming the big business.
Just a heads up, the deplorables are getting married next week, and you're on track to send them a wedding gift. Trump's big, beautiful bill has huge tax breaks for billionaires, including giving Jeff and Lauren an extra $400K. In what world do these two need an extra $400K from the American people? I don't even think Kris Jenner plans to spend that much on their wedding present. And of course, it's not just that. This bill will take healthcare away from 16 million people. But here's the good news. We can actually ensure that these two don't get that wedding present. And the way we push back against this bill is so simple. In the words of the late, great Nate Dogg, all you have to do is pick up the mother expletive phone and dial. And I have made it so easy for you. We have to call our senators and tell them to vote no against the big, beautiful bill. This has such an impact. And I have made this so easy for you, okay? All you have to do is go to the link in my bio, and I have a list of every single senator's extension. You dial 202-224, and then those last 4 digits. And truly, all you have to say when you call, don't worry, it's not like Josh Hawley's gonna pick up the phone. You're gonna get a staffer, and you just say, "Hi, this is who I am. I am calling because I would like to encourage the senator to vote no against the big, beautiful bill." And it's in the Senate now, so that's why we're going to call our senators. You can then add to that, like, oh, it's because 16 million Americans will lose their health insurance. Or you can say, I don't want to give Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez $400,000. Doing one of these calls takes about 90 seconds, y'all. But it has a big impact because these people need to know that they are going to get reelected. And if they feel like they are getting a huge pushback, they will know that their job is on the line. And even if Josh Hawley does pick up, he is your employee. These people work for us. Call them. Best wishes, but I'm not getting you two a gift.
The headlines on Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding remain focused on the fact that they spent $50 million in their wedding. I could not care less about that. They could have spent $300 million. I would not care. It is evidence, proof, in fact, evidence submitted to the court that Americans, working class people all over the world, do not understand the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. Jeff Bezos here is worth $226 billion. Billion dollars. He could spend $50 million every month if he wanted to. Every weekend. He's not spending his money in 10 lifetimes. People cannot conceptualize that. I do not care that her wedding dress is horrific. It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Money, it clearly is not buying style or taste. Is her plastic surgery horrifying? Yes. Do you though, boo? I've not liked a lot of people's wedding dresses. I think a lot of people's plastic surgery goes too far. It's not my business. Do you? She looks happy. Her smile, she looks happy, okay? That's how you should look on your wedding day. That's good for you. You know what I care about? That we are about to vote on the Senate for them to get a tax cut. And in order to afford to give them that tax cut, we have to cut millions of people off of their health care. that in order to afford to give them that tax cut, we have to cut millions of people off of food assistance programs. And when we do that, those people will starve. That's what I care about. I care that they support an administration that denies the reality of climate change. That they want to that they are currently rolling back climate change initiatives. That for this wedding, they donated $3.5 million, which is like the dirty pennies at the bottom of my pocketbook, equivalent to their net worth, to a Venice organization to help save Venice. But that's not even enough to erase the impact that they had on climate change when 95 private planes arrived in Venice for their wedding. I don't care. They could have spent $300 million in their wedding. I don't care. Money is never buying them style or taste. She has the gaudiest ring and the ugliest dress I've ever seen, but she's happy, and good for them. It's not my money. It was not my wedding, okay? What I care about is that somehow, because we cannot conceptualize what $1 billion means, let alone $226 billion, we want to make room in our budget to give them a tax cut and cut the most vulnerable people in our country off of their healthcare and food assistance, which will ultimately make our economy less stable. That's what I care about. Have your phone party. I really don't care. Spend $100 million. I don't care. Don't give them a tax cut.
Unfortunately, I don't want to say it's too late, but it has passed the Senate. That's the big beautiful bill. So most likely on the 4th. It's today 4th. Yeah, today is the 4th of July. Unfortunately, most likely it will be signed by Donald Trump today. So it's quite, I don't know what these people are going to tell their constituents in the next election, but it's, anyway. So that's what people are talking about. They don't care about the wedding and the rest, but they want people to conceptualize how these people do not need this tax cut. They do not need, I don't even know how it is not obvious for people, and how they were able to get 50 senators to sign on it. Even though I know that it was J.D. Vance that was a tiebreaker, but how are they able to get people to be so how will they get people to fight against their own interests so much? I don't want to make this political, but crazy to me, because the people that are voting for this are not the billionaires. You know, most of these people are not billionaires. They're not. Well, anyway, let's continue. Let's make it less.
Remember when Leonardo DiCaprio decided that he didn't want to date anyone older than like a 9th grader? So he decided to distract us all by being the climate guy. Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio has been the climate guy. He's been into climate change, etc. But to me at this point, it's quite performative. Let's unpack it for a second. Here he is on the United Nations website about being a climate change activist. Okay, fine, that's great. But at this point, I would argue it's performative. Here is Leo on Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's $485 million super yacht. Really great article here about how super yachts have a supersized climate impact. Not a good climate impact, Leo. It's from Bloomberg. And the CO2 emissions of Amazon are only increasing. So we know these two freaks are getting married pretty soon, and their wedding is going to be in Venice. And don't worry, I was reading this whole article today about how like their wedding will not disturb any of the like structural things about Venice, because, you know, Venice is in a climate crisis as well. And it's like, oh good, I'm glad that you guys can do that for Venice, but you've single-handedly kind of wreaked havoc on this entire country. But for Venice, for a few days, you can dial it back. But no, I think what's getting really ridiculous, and I'm gonna call this out, especially with these two descending upon Venice with all their friends, and I've seen who the potential guest list is. It's Oprah, it's Gayle, it's Katy Perry, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. That's who they're predicting will be there. You guys, I wish I could, no, I don't. What happens in your brain? Like, how do you turn off that part in your brain that makes you want to just scream at him, you're ruining the world? And don't come in here with your don't you have friends who have different political values than you? Sure, but guess what? In 2025, I don't really mess with Trumpers anymore. First of all, there's that. And being like cool at Thanksgiving with your Trumper cousin is very different than being like, yes, Jeff Bezos, who like writes $1 million checks to Trump's inaugural fund, I want to come to your wedding in Venice. Like, those are very different things. And I'm over this whole like, you know what, they're all just friends and they can set it aside. No, it's not that they're just friends. It's that they're all horrible. It's that they're all horrible and deplorable. That's actually what it is. And they all want to ride on these two's coattails, so they're okay with looking the other way. And they think that we are dumb enough to continue to fall for the PR thing of like, oh, the trip to space was about women empowerment, or I'm the climate activist guy. Pay no attention while I step on the super yacht. No, we're done with it here at Team Lynch. We are done with it. And let me tell you, I will be watching every move of that wedding to come. And that is just me watching it from afar. I'm not going to Venice. I will be lucky if I go to Venice, California, which, to be honest, I live on the west side, so it really shouldn't be that hard. But you know, traffic's a bitch here in LA. And you're not helping, Jeff Bezos.
At first I was like, maybe he went to Turkey to get a hair transplant and it's taking a little longer than he expected to heal. Because even for a man who was constantly in the least incognito gear, like hoodie, scarf, balaclava, face mask, beanie, hat, that has always been Leonardo DiCaprio's go-to look. But even for him, this is a little nutty. And then it came to my attention that he zoomed over the pond in his little private jet, just like all of his other celebrity friends. Couldn't dare fly commercial. Maybe Leonardo doesn't realize this, but there is something between the gas-guzzling, carbon-emitting monstrosity that is a private jet and, I don't know, putting some floaties on his Prius and just paddling furiously across the pond. There is an in-between. Anywho, the streets are saying that Mr. Environmentalist does not like having his face photographed at events that he used his private jet to attend, or a private jet. Because he's not like all of these other vapid, useless celebrities. No, he's special. He cares about Mother Earth. And if you can't see his face, you can't prove it's not true. You still know it's you, boo. Come on.
So Mr. Save the Planet at Save a Ho Under 26, Leonardo DiCaprio was photographed leaving Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's $50 million wedding in Venice. Because nothing says I give a shit about the earth and the climate like attending the wedding of one of the richest people on the planet in one of the cities most impacted by climate change in the world. Yes, a wedding where up to 100 people flew in on their private jets, the most destructive form of travel on the planet by far. To a city that's rapidly sinking and projected to be almost underwater in 25 years due to the effects of climate change. That is overwhelmingly accelerated by the billionaire class, the people whose wedding you have attended. The wedding of a man who supported the presidential bid of one of the most anti-climate presidents we've ever seen, who is directly in the pockets of big oil. No wonder his face is covered. Just goes to show that multimillionaires who purport to be climate activists are typically full of shit. And of course, they're not dealing with the consequences of this rapidly heating earth as we are, which affords these people the privilege of compartmentalizing their activism, meaning that it's bullshit.
Why was Sydney Sweeney at Jeff Bezos' wedding? Like, does she know them? Does she know Lauren Sánchez or Jeff Bezos, or both of them? I mean, I am just commenting from a public place. This surprised me. This caught me off guard. As someone who has defended her against misogyny in the past, I just feel the need to come on here and say, wow, this really shocked me. Like the Kardashians, I expected. Sydney Sweeney did not see that coming. And before y'all are like, why are you even mad? Like, it's her life. I'm not actually mad. It took me 40 seconds to make this video, so you're the one watching it being mad.
Unfortunately, this is a bit too late because the House has passed the big, beautiful bill and it's with the president now and most likely going to be signed today. Today is July 4th. So, too late. But it's just crazy how people are working tirelessly against their own interests. They are not the billionaires. The billionaires are not the ones signing all these things. But I don't know what they promised them. I don't know how I really do not understand the reasoning, because these people definitely do not need the tax cuts. But anyway, let's go back to the fun video.
Let me get this straight. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, you have a 200-person wedding, and it's all celebrities? That's who you want seeing you celebrate your union of love in this relationship you're supposed to spend the rest of your life in? You don't have any friends or family? You don't have any actual, like, meaningful connections and relationships with, like, real human beings? I'm not talking about fucking celebrities. Oprah fucking Winfrey's there. Gayle King. All of the Kardashians got an invite. Even Corey. Orlando Bloom. Leonardo DiCaprio. Tom Brady. Ellie Goulding was there. The Lights girl. Sydney Sweeney. I laughed when I saw Sydney Sweeney. What do you mean your friend? You know Sydney Sweeney well enough that you want her at your wedding? You're like 40 years older than you. When do you guys hang out? This was all clearly just for clout and to have like a list of famous people at your wedding. You don't have any real meaningful connections to actual people. Like, what? Jeff Bezos, where's your boys you grew up with? You don't have a group chat? Lauren Sanchez, you don't have any friends or girlfriends you like kiki with on a Sunday at brunch? Oh, wow. Billionaires, not only are they out of touch based off their wealth and how they hoard resources, but, come to find out, they don't even know any real human beings. They don't have any actual connections with friends or family. Wow. That's actually really pathetic and sad. All the money and resources in the world, and you two are just still a couple of tacky losers with no friends.
Am I the only one who's confused why the royal family of Jordan, like Queen Rania, went to Jeff Bezos' wedding? Like, I don't get it. What's her business at his wedding? Like, I get she goes to, like, important events that are happening in other countries because you need to, like, represent your country. But why is she going to the CEO of Amazon's wedding? See, this is what I don't get about this family. Like, the royal family of Jordan, they, like, let's say fight with a country or, like, they talk shit about a country. But then when there's, like, an event going on, they're the first people to go. I'm like, what? And no, like, you guys, she didn't just go to the one event. Like, she went to both of them. She changed her dress. She's ready. Like, don't get me wrong. I love her dress. And, like, she looks like she could be in her 40s. But I still don't get why is she there. Even if he invited them, like, why are you there? Aren't you supposed to be taking care of your country, helping others? Why are you at the wedding? Like, I get why Kylie Jenner is there, but, like, you? Doesn't make sense.
Okay, so we know how much Jeff Bezos had to pay his ex-wife after she left the marriage. So I was really interested to see what the money situation we're going to be in, because as I always say on this channel, marriage is a contract and you have to have a prenup. Yeah, you need to have a prenup for that. So I just wanted to see how that was all about, and I'm also happy to see some people talking about it. So let's get into that.
All right, guys, so everybody's so excited right now because we finally have the wedding of the century done with Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos. Now, everybody was wondering, and I've gotten so many questions, like, what does that prenup look like? What does she get if something happens? No, she's totally effed. Let me tell you why. He made sure that she gets no property, no stake in Amazon, and all she gets, if in fact they get a divorce, is $1 million per every year that they stay together. So if they end up staying together for 10 years, she gets 10 mil. That's it. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, so hard for her, but think about the fact that the guy is worth over $250 billion. Like, his yacht requires more gas than what that alimony check would be. Do you understand? However, congrats. It's gonna be a good one. And also, Lauren Sanchez, like, don't go anywhere, girl. You're not the ex-wife. You're not getting away with $33.3 billion. So yeah, that too.
Yeah, but the way he's sounding is kind of sketchy, because we all know that his ex-wife was also part of the founders of Amazon. So she needs to collect that bag because it's also her money. And it makes sense that she doesn't have any shares, any any like automatic shares in Amazon, she can buy the shares by herself. You understand? She can buy the shares. I don't know. Now that she's married to him, would that be insider trading? I'm not sure of that. But I'm sure she can make other investments. I'm hoping she doesn't look like somebody that is not smart. So I'm hoping she can make other investments. But 1 million for every year. Did you negotiate that deal, babes? 1 million is quite low for somebody that's a billionaire, but it's not my money. Yeah, I'm sure she had her own lawyers checking those papers because sketchy. All right.
Did you get an invite to the big wedding? Let's get down to the legalities of all
Oh, I'm
this.
sure you want to.
I want to know. Prenup? And
So-
what does that look like?
Did you know this? That apparently they were supposed to get married last year, and the wedding was postponed until now, allegedly because his lawyers were still working out the prenup.
Wow.
And would not let him get married when he wanted to last year until the prenup was ironclad. So apparently that's number one with the prenup. One of the issues, too, is that this is his second marriage. Remember, his first marriage to Mackenzie Bezos, there was no prenup because they got married before
All this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mackenzie Bezos walked away with billions and billions of dollars. She's now worth over $100 billion. Mackenzie.
Wow. And that's after giving a lot of money to charity.
And she gives so much of it away, right?
Right.
And so his lawyers are like, this is not going to happen to you again, which I kind of take issue with because you're making it sound like Mackenzie didn't have something to do with
his
the
success. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I don't want this to happen again. What? That a woman helped you be successful?
Right.
You don't want that to be, okay, whatever. What we think is that there's a major carve out protection for his children. No matter what happens, Lauren Sanchez will not be getting what the children are owed. When you get to be that wealthy, it's just so absurd. The prenup took 2 years. Some Hollywood marriages don't make it a year. So
Yeah.
the length of the prenup took longer than some marriages.
So what do you think about it? I just want you to notice how seriously they took it. 2 years to pull together a document. And I'm sure this document is not up to 300 pages. 2 years. It is a serious deal. So I don't know why people just walk into marriages just like that. And even if you're not as rich as Jeff Bezos, you should also be looking into a prenup if you want to get married. I'm sure you own some things. I'm sure you own something that you would like to protect, and some things that, because even if you're married, because I also forgot to mention that in my previous video, even if you're married, that you can also do what do they call it? Is it post-nuptial? Yeah, I think it's post-nuptial agreements. You can do an agreement while you are in the marriage. It's not fight. It's not fight. It's just you being like having sense about it. But anyway, let me know what you think about the prenup. Let me know what you think about the wedding, the taste. Do you agree that it was tasteless or just tacky? What do you guys think? I really want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.